It is safe to say that some people tend to get entitled when it comes to their life. It could range from being something expensive to something as small as a parking space. However, there is only so much entitlement one can show before karma decides to show their face around them and knock them down a peg. The story that we're going to be covering today covers one such driver, as all hell breaks loose and she barely got away with her life. Greetings, salutations, and welcome to our channel. We are here today to cover the story of a woman who refused to move her car over for a construction worker, only for karma to do what has to be done. Today we're going to be covering the story of the Roger Tichborne controversy. As always, before we begin, make sure to press the like button and subscribe to support our channel so we can bring you more quality stories like this. Also, if you don't want to miss a single one of our uploads, press the bell notification button and turn on YouTube notifications on your smartphone. Today's story actually comes from the world of Reddit. The stranger who enlightened the world of this story was a Redditor that goes by the name of BBQ Lunch. He did not expect anything of this sort to happen when he accepted a job as the foreman for a new house build. However, what surprised him even more is that the obstacle that he faced came in the form of a woman driving a sedan. A foreman's job is not as easy as one might think, and he was already having a tough day up to that point. After all, the house in question wasn't your ordinary one-story house. It was a large, classy house that completely differed from the rest of the neighborhood. The hardest part? The area was somewhat at the end of the hill. It took some time, but eventually, BBQ Lunch got used to the steep incline. Of course, this meant that the workers had to put extra effort to lug all the supplies and necessities up the hill from the driveway. The trek definitely took a lot out of the workers, but they could not let it hold them back, as they could not afford to go behind schedule. However, for once in the lives of workers, the law ended up being a boon instead of a bane. Right at the bottom of the hill, there happened to be two official no parking signs placed, ensuring that the driveway is kept clear and ready for use on any occasion. However, there are always entitled individuals out there in their own little bubbles that refuse to care about the law, and there was a selfish stranger that day that shared the same sentiment. All she wanted was to be in a buzzing location down the hill from the construction site. The reason why she was parking there? There was a school nearby, and it was common for the workers to hear the bell every afternoon as the children from this elementary school that was half a block away scream as they run out. It was safe to say that the area sometimes got overrun with excited children, and that adorning parents that waited to pick them up. It did not matter if the foreman preferred it that way or not, as it was how things were. However, the foreman was happy to see that parents were compliant with the sign ever since construction began. This meant that the sign was doing what it was supposed to do, and they could carry on with work as they were used to. At least, until one entitled woman decided to defy everything. She could clearly see the foreman and the workers making their way up and down the steep slope, but she did not care, as she pulled over to the curb. It was almost as if she was legally blind, as she parked right at the no parking sign. The woman's car blocks the footpath that the foreman and the workers were taking up to the construction site. The foreman initially believed that she simply made a mistake and missed the sign. Because of that, he approached her as he kindly pointed out the sign, informed her of the situation, and asked her to move. This was when the foreman realized exactly how egotistical the woman was. She scoffed at him before replying, "I'll just be here for a few minutes, and your truck is not here. Take a chill pill, dude." The foreman did not know what to say as he backed away. However, this ended up being the least of his problems, as things suddenly grew even tougher for him. As the woman finished essentially telling off the foreman, a truck carrying lumber that was meant to pull in when it arrived at the site made its way to the bottom of the hill, only to find the woman's car blocking the way. There was not even enough space to unload all the lumber. The foreman had to move the woman away from that space, and he had to do it quick. He expected the woman to understand their predicament at that point. After all, she brushed him off earlier, claiming that the truck had not arrived yet. Now that it is here, she would understand. Right? Of course not. Instead of being understanding and driving away, she quickly rolled up her windows and pretended to not see what just arrived. The foreman approached the car and practically did everything he could to grab her attention, eventually causing her to roll down the window slightly before angrily yelling out, "What?" The foreman, unfazed, went ahead and explained that the truck was finally here, and that they had to unload, which meant that she could no longer stay here. However, the woman, insistent and entitled as ever, claimed that she will not be moving until school let out. Like a spoiled child, she screamed, "Can't you guys just unload around me? Jesus, it's not that hard." She went off like a cannon. The foreman, BBQ Lunch, was definitely not happy by this. But that was when an idea popped into his head on a potential lesson that could be taught here. The foreman made his way to the man driving the lumber truck, before informing him of the situation and coming up with a plan. When the foreman gave his approval, the lumber truck unloaded, blocking her in next to the curb. However, the way that she reacted was definitely something nobody expected. The woman, on the other hand, did not even seem to care one bit, potentially not even noticing what was happening. The foreman took this opportunity to quickly call the police and let them know of the situation. At this point in time, I was not trying to get her in trouble. I just wanted a record of why we were blocking part of the street, so that we could not get in trouble with the city. BBQ Lunch claimed later. The post officer chimed in, claiming that he would be there in 30 minutes. The foreman had 30 minutes to fix this, but before he could even approach the woman again, the woman's kid came to the car all the way from the school. Of course, now that she was blocked into the curb, she could not even open her door to exit the car. She had to climb over the passenger side just to greet her child. She started to scream at the foreman, demanding him to move his car, but he smoothly replied back, saying that it is against company policy to move the truck while it is loaded. This meant that the woman would have to watch and wait for everything to be completely unloaded, but of course, her impatient and entitled nature did not let her accept the reality of her situation. So she decided to get back into the driver's seat of her car and decided that she would try to drive out of here no matter what, even though there was no obvious exit in sight. Needless to say, that didn't end up going well, as she ended up running over a porta potty and even ended up getting her car stuck on the sidewalk barrier. And it did not take much time to realize that she had no way out, and she had learned the hard way on exactly what happens when you try to force your way through. What made this a million times better was the fact that the officer was arriving on the scene and he managed to see everything happen right in front of his eyes. With that, the woman had broken quite a few laws, while also potentially endangering the lives of many, along with her own sons. The officer immediately approached her and asked her to step out of the vehicle. The woman attempted to lie her way out of it, claiming that the foreman had given her permission to park there, but unfortunately for her, the foreman had already given him the full story through the phone. The woman ended up getting charged with reckless driving, destruction of property, and, to the surprise of the foreman, driving on a suspended license. The police officer took the liberty to tow the woman's car away as he arrested her. Her child had to be picked up by his grandmother as he had to be with her for the time being. Meanwhile, the foreman watched it all unfold, as he claimed a prediction with the rest of his crew. I think, next time, she will probably think twice about parking in a tow-away zone. That is, if she ever gets a license again. When BBQ Lunch shared the story, he received a lot of praise for doing what many found themselves unable to do, dealing with a lot of people and their entitled parking behavior by dishing out some karma and justice in his own way. Reddit is a wonderful place filled with all sorts of experiences, as the thread this story belonged to even contained many other stories that went along the same lines, some even going further in their attempts of dishing out some karma, but those stories are for another day. We've now reached the end of today's video. Did you like that story? For more interesting stories like this, subscribe to our channel and press that bell button to get a notification every single time we upload a new video. Make sure to like this video and share it with your friends and family. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.